The Mind of a Monster. The untold story of Israel Keyes. In 2012, a young woman named Samantha Koenig disappeared while working at a coffee kiosk in Anchorage, Alaska. Her abduction was sudden, violent, and caught on security cameras. Police scrambled for leads, but the real story, the one they would uncover weeks later, was far darker than they ever imagined. The man who took her wasn't just a kidnapper. He was one of the most elusive and calculating serial killers in American history. His name was Israel Keyes. Keyes didn't look like a monster. He owned a small construction business. He had a young daughter. He lived in a modest house and blended in with the community. But beneath the surface, he was hiding something chilling, a methodical system of murder that he had spent years perfecting. What made him so terrifying wasn't just the number of people he killed, it was how he did it. Born in 1978 in Utah, Israel Keyes grew up in a deeply religious, isolated family. They lived off the grid, moved often, and had little interaction with the outside world. He was homeschooled, raised without modern conveniences, and immersed in extreme ideology. From a young age, Keyes displayed disturbing behavior. He enjoyed hurting animals, tying them to trees, and watching them die slowly. He would later tell investigators that he felt no emotion during these acts, only curiosity. By the time he was a teenager, he was fantasizing about killing people. In one chilling confession, he recalled luring a girl into the woods with the intent of raping and murdering her. He stopped at the last moment, not because of conscience, but because he feared getting caught. That fear wouldn't last long. After serving in the U.S. Army, where he was described as quiet and respectful, Keyes began planning murders in earnest. But unlike other killers, he didn't act impulsively. He waited. He strategized. Keyes devised a plan so elaborate it stunned the FBI. He created what he called kill kits, 5-gallon buckets filled with weapons, rope, zip ties, cash, and cleaning supplies. He buried these kits across the United States, often years in advance, in remote locations. Then, when the time felt right, he would fly to one city, rent a car, and drive hundreds, sometimes thousands, of miles to avoid detection. He would dig up a kill kit and select a random victim. He didn't stalk his prey. He chose them by chance. People who simply happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. One of the most well-documented murders he confessed to was that of Bill and Lorraine Currier, a middle-aged couple living in Vermont. In 2011, Keyes broke into their home in the middle of the night. He tied them up, forced them into their own car, and drove them to an abandoned farmhouse. There, he shot Bill in the basement and sexually assaulted and strangled Lorraine. Then he vanished, leaving no forensic evidence behind. Police had no idea who had done it. The case went cold until Keyes confessed a year later. What made him even harder to catch was his total lack of pattern. Most serial killers have a preferred victim type, method, or signature. Keyes intentionally avoided all of that. He never killed close to home. He avoided victims who could be traced back to him. He used cash only, turned off his cell phone, and left no digital footprint. It wasn't until he made a mistake that investigators finally caught up with him. In the case of Samantha Koenig, after abducting her, Keyes took her debit card and phone. He killed her that same night, but kept her body in a freezer. Then, using makeup and fishing line, he staged a photo to make her look alive for a ransom demand. He sent the photo to her family, along with a message asking for money. He then traveled across multiple states, withdrawing cash from ATMs using her card. This activity finally gave law enforcement a lead. Surveillance footage and ATM records traced him to Texas, where he was arrested during a routine traffic stop. What followed was a series of chilling interviews with the FBI. Keyes confessed to Samantha's murder, and then to many more. He spoke calmly, often smiling, as he described the killings. He refused to give names or details that would identify his victims. His goal, he said, was to avoid giving the media or police any sense of closure. He didn't want to be famous. He didn't want his daughter to know what he'd done. The FBI believes that Israel Keyes may have killed at least 11 people, possibly more than 20. Some victims may never be identified. In drawings he left behind in prison, Keyes sketched skulls and strange symbols, one for each person he claimed to have murdered. But before authorities could extract more information, Keyes killed himself in his jail cell in December 2012. He left behind a suicide note filled with bizarre, poetic phrases, but no answers. To this day, many of his victims remain unknown. No closure, no names, no graves, just unanswered questions. What makes Israel Keyes so terrifying is not just what he did, but how carefully he hid it. He was methodical, disciplined, and completely detached from human empathy. He studied the mistakes of other serial killers so he could avoid making them. He didn't want recognition. He wanted silence, and he almost got away with it. In the world of true crime, few stories are as haunting as his. A man who moved in plain sight, lived a double life, and hunted strangers across the country without anyone noticing, until it was too late.